Good morning. Welcome to the South Dade Shoutout. My name is Richard Candia. I'm a realtor with Avanti Way, but I also have the privilege of serving on the South Dade Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. Every week we invite a community guest, a community business partner, and we learn a little bit about what they do, why they do it better, and how they bring service and value to our community. Today we're joined by my friend Jhyna Arauco. Jhyna joins us from the Redland Fruit and Spice Park. It's a beautiful property, part of the Miami-Dade County Park and Recreation System. And we're here to learn a little bit about what they do and how they do it. Welcome, Jhyna.
Hi, Richard.
And I got to tell you, I'm embarrassed to admit to you, I think we had discussed it, I didn't know that the Redland, and I got to get this right, Redland Fruit and Spice Park is part of Miami-Dade County Park System.
Yes, we're one of the heritage parks within the park system, and we're very proud to be part of Miami-Dade County Park System.
I always thought it was like a private enterprise. That's what it sounds like. When you say Heritage Park, I know we talked a little bit about this. Is this because it's one of the oldest parks in the system, perhaps?
I believe it's one of the parks that's been in the park system for established in 1944, and also it does have a historic component. It is actually, we have a few historic, like a historic schoolhouse, a coral rock building that's also protected and historic. So I believe that's why we're one of the heritage parks.
1944, down south in the Redlands, there was even less people. I mean, it wasn't very dense at all back then. So somebody had some foresight.
Yes, and she's a very special woman. She actually initiated this whole vision of hers. Her name was Mary Heinlein, and she got the attention of the right people. At that time, it was Preston B. Bird. He was a commissioner. And then the parks director at the time. And what she noticed was that there was a lot of agricultural movement of local farmers growing apples, pears in the area. And then so she wanted to showcase that at Fruit and Spice Park. At the time, it wasn't Fruit and Spice Park, but she wanted to showcase that and show everything else that can be grown in this rich agricultural land known as Redland.
Okay. That makes sense. We talk about it. I think we all know instinctively agriculture is such a huge part of South Dade, but it's a huge part of our economy.
Yes.
The Redland, one of the missions is to bring attention to that.
Yes, definitely, and we're so grateful for Commissioner Cohen Higgins. She actually came to the park recently, and she's supporting our upcoming event, which is Grow Fest, which was actually coordinated by Bee Haven Farm, and they chose Fruit and Spice Park as their location to have their festival because I think it meets their vision for their festival, which is everything locally grown, locally sourced, and locally supported by the community. So Bee Haven Farm is the one coordinating that whole festival, and we're just happy to be the location that they always choose to have this at.
And see, we're talking about this again as if it was an entity, but it is a park. How large is it? How big is it?
37 acres.
Jeez, that's big.
It is very big. It is very big. And we have over 500 varieties of herbs, spices, nuts, fruits that guests are just always amazed to see. And it always looks different at every season.
Okay, we had a conversation before this, and we're going off script already.
We're just getting into it.
Fruit and Spice Park. So I know I can conceive of the different fruits that we have in our community that we're blessed to have in our community.
Yeah.
Spices? What spices are you talking about?
Yeah, so we have cinnamon. We have bay rum. We have allspice.
What's bay rum? That sounds
bay rum. It's similar to allspice. You can actually cook with it.
Mhm.
Allspice smells kind of like the allspice deodorant of men's deodorant.
Okay.
I guess that's where they got the name allspice.
Maybe.
And then bay rum is used in a lot of cuisine from different countries around the world.
Okay. What's the best way to experience the park?
I think the best way to experience the park is to get there early. If you get there about, well, we open at 10. We stop selling admission at 4, but guests can stay till 5. The best way is to get there at 10 a.m. You have a little bit of time to use the bathrooms, check out the map, and then wander a little bit yourself. And then you come back in time for our 11 a.m. Tour, which takes you with a naturalist of ours around the park. And then they escort you around the park with our tram so that you can get a little bit more of a education about ethnobotany and what we do. And the theme of our park is ethnobotany, so they take you around the park, they show you things, they make you smell things, you get to experience it at another level with someone who knows.
I can touch stuff.
Yeah, we have 1 or 2 stops during that tram tour where you can get off and you can touch and you can smell depending on what's in season. And then after that, it was probably around lunchtime. So if you brought a picnic with you, you can have a picnic in one of our picnic benches, enjoy the afternoon there, and then maybe explore another area in South Dade. We have a lot of amazing tourist attractions in South Dade.
One of the things we talk about constantly is how South Dade and parts of South Dade does not look like any other part of Miami.
Yeah.
And so this is another way to experience that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's I feel like Miami is very much of like a city, very it's a lot of moving parts. And then you get to the Redland, you get to South Dade, and it kind of slows down for you a little bit. So if you're looking to just have a little bit of a more relaxed, there's still a little bit of traffic, but less traffic, less hecticity of a vibe, then head to South Dade. There's so many places. We have Fruit and Spice Park. There's a lot of new farms that have become attractions in the area. There's the Waterfall Temple, which is amazing. And then we also have a lot of little fruit stands and garden nurseries that you walk around and you just see incredible things that you don't see really anywhere else.
Ladies and gentlemen, our new president of the chamber. You mentioned ethnobotany. What is that, please?
Yes, so ethnobotany is one of the main themes that we center our park on. It means it's the relationship between humans and plants. So everything that we've planted in Fruit and Spice Park has a purpose for humans, whether the plant is used to eat like fruit, or you can make baskets out of it. You can make bowls out of, for example, the calabash fruit. We have pond from, which they sew baskets into. You can make maracas, and there's a lot of nutritional properties that a lot of fruits have that people get to enjoy when they eat certain fruits. A lot of
so you have this unique position as a park.
Yeah.
We have to remember it is a park. It is a park. It's open to the citizens of not just Dade County, but of everybody. I'm sure you have a lot of guests. We'll touch on that in a minute. But it sounds like it's more of an attraction as well. As an attraction, what kind of recognition has the park received?
Yes, we're actually accredited by ARBNet, which is, let me just pull it up right here.
But you have certain accreditations.
Yes. So ARBNet, International Arboretum Accreditation, it basically recognizes the park as a collection, and the significance of the collection, and how we use it to educate the public. And then we have another accreditation, which is from BGCI, Botanic Garden Conservation International, that basically recognizes Fruit and Spice Park as a botanic garden.
I don't know if you know this offhand. What other botanical gardens have that same designation?
Not that I know of. Actually, BGCI is an international accreditation.
So within in our backyard,
Mm-hmm.
we have a public park that has the same recognition as, we can just only imagine the type of botanical gardens that have that same type of recognition.
Right.
That's interesting. And then more people should know that. And again,
Yes.
I didn't know about
Yes,
park.
and
so embarrassed.
yes, and our colleagues who worked with us in the past. Right now we have our park director, Vanessa Trujillo, Dr. Vanessa Trujillo, and she's been a catalyst to making a lot of efficiencies at the park, and making it more of a she kind of has like a Disney type of service
Okay.
that she likes to provide to us as staff, but also we embody that and then we give it to our guests. So we're kind of serving also at another level. But the old park manager, Jim Stribling, he wanted to secure the park as a botanic garden. He recently moved to England about 3 to 3 years ago. But that was his quest. And Louise King, our horticulturist, they worked together to really establish us as for the accreditations that we have today. So we're really thankful for that.
We need to have another conversation at some point to go into depth about those. Just the fact that somebody who was tied very closely to the park went to England, which is known for its gardens. So we just understand now what kind of place this is. You had mentioned something to me before about how the garden or how the park is laid out. It represents the different regions of the
equator, around the equator.
Okay.
Yes. So Fruit and Spice Park has, as you walk through the path, you're going to find different regions. So the first one is Tropical Americas, which is all kind of like this area of like, Mexico, Bolivia, type of, tropics, and other countries, like fruits from those countries. And then you have Africa, the Pacific, Asia.
And so there's representation of the different fruits and spices from those areas.
Correct.
Do we know why those regions were selected?
I think that a lot of exotic fruits grow in those areas, and a lot of those fruits found in those areas were able to be grown here because of our tropical climate, and so it just flourished to those specific regions. We also have Africa. So one of the main highlights, at least for me, is the baobabs, also known as the tree of life. And the Lion King. So it's very nice, for kids to come and identify with something. A lot of times they leave with that. We also have the tree, the sycamore tree, which is from Pocahontas.
Sure.
It's actually a fig tree.
Okay.
And we have one of those varieties at the park, and the roots are just incredible. It's a huge tree, and so a lot of kids, when we have a group of kids, we tell them like those associations for them, which is significant.
Okay. We need to go there. So many of us go to our parks. I go to the park to go for a jog, to take my dog and whatever. And this is that, but it's also more of an attraction. So give me the count. How many visitors have you had in the last year? And and forget about COVID. I'm sure those numbers are ramping up. Well, give me some numbers.
Yeah. Well, first off, we are a park, but we don't allow dogs unless they're service animals. Yeah. And the main reason, obviously, we love animals, especially myself. I have 2 dogs. The main reason is because since we're an edible garden and people go to taste things and reach from the ground to taste it, we don't want to contaminate the ground. So currently, this last fiscal year, we closed with over 30,000 people visiting the park.
Wow. Okay.
And I feel like this is just coming off of COVID. And we have the right people in the right seats right now within our staff, that I feel like the director is going to push those boundaries even further. And I'm definitely there to support her goals.
And again, it's in our backyard. Our community should be amongst those 20,000, 30,000 people. Schools, you have school tours, you reach out to the community in that way as well?
Yes, we love having field trips that come over. We have classes, Bees and Trees, which focuses on pollinators. We have a new rec spec. His name is Jay Arce, and he's developed our Bees and Trees curriculum to deliver something more STEM related at another level. So they're going to be doing flower dissections and looking at different pollinators, not just bees, but other pollinators. So our Bees and Trees curriculum has changed a little bit. So it's it's going to be, it focuses on K through 12. And then we also have a nutrition class for kids. And then includes a field trip, which means that they get to tour the park also with one of our naturalists.
An unfair question. This might not, you may not have this, but I can only imagine what the economic impact of this attraction is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it reaches worldwide, honestly. We get visitors from Russia. We get groups from traveling from other states that come here for training in different plants and insects that they may find here, right? And
are you affiliated with any universities?
We are not specifically, but we always have great relationships with all of our universities and colleges. We get a lot of volunteers from Miami-Dade College that come and help preserve our garden, weed out all of the weed, mulch. We get a lot of students from Miami-Dade College volunteering. is actually, they send a lot of their sustainability students to come and tour the park. And, we have a long road to keep on connecting with a lot of other universities that can enjoy our park at another level.
Talk to me about the relationship as you see it between the park and the Redlands. And historically, that's how it started.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that tie-in?
I think that's a very special relationship. And I think all of our staff really feel that grounding with Redland. The main reason is, we're a historical park, but on top of that, Redland got its name. The area got its name because of the soil, because the soil looked red, which was like rich in nutrients, and which is why we can grow so much that we can grow, and it's an agricultural area. But also, that area was really focused in pioneer homesteaders, and our first superintendent, Mary Heinlein, she's the one that started the vision of Fruit and Spice Park. She was a descendant of pioneer homesteaders, which is, people who farm and who agriculture and who have that, locally sourced type of mentality from back in the day. And so our history really is rooted in Redland.
I think actually play on words, no pun intended, but yeah. I get it. You mentioned a little bit about the best way to enjoy the park. One of my colleagues on the board, Marcial del Toral, went to visit it just this past weekend, and he said his son was just blown away. You could taste fruit off the ground. You can I pluck it off a tree and eat it, or no?
Unfortunately not.
No. But yeah, so there's talk to me about that interaction.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, you can taste anything that's fallen from the trees, as long as you know what it is. We're starting this fiscal year to put flags around the park so that people know what's safe to eat. Sometimes there's certain fruits that when they're not ripe, they don't go down well. Some may be poisonous when they're not ripe. So we're putting flags around the park so that you're aware of what you're tasting is good to taste at the time. And then, so we don't allow people to pick from the trees because we're not a you pick, right? We want people to see what it looks like when it's flowering, when it's ripening on the tree, and then when it's finally ripe, what stage that looks like. I think that's an experience that you never get when you go to a supermarket. You see things already done and ready.
On one hand, I'm trying to encourage folks to come down and visit, but on the other hand, I don't want anybody to come. It's like I wanted to hear my secret.
Want to eat it all?
I want to eat it all.
Yes.
Tell me, okay, so because of the different seasons, I can go in January and have a totally different experience than if I go in May.
Correct. Yes. January is also considered like one of the winter months. In Miami, it all kind of feels the same, but there's a slight change, I guess. And so in January is probably not the biggest fruiting season, but there's also different things that fruit at different seasons. So there might not be as much as May or June because people really love the mango season.
Oh, sure.
But there's plenty to see. There's the spices. The figs are always You can see the pandanus, that bamboo. Obviously, you can't taste the bamboo, but we have a little seating space where it faces the lake, and then you can hear the bamboo and the wind.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
also, the weather during these months is so much better.
Sure.
So much better. You're not having like, the sun.
So let's do a little bit of PR now.
Mhm.
You have various events throughout the year. I know we have one coming up, but besides Grow Fest, give me some idea of some of the other events throughout the year that you have.
Yeah, definitely. And
You just had one as well.
we did. Oh man, we had the Redland Orchid Festival.
Well, let me put a pin in that for a second. We talked about the participants behaving. These are beekeepers and they're local, but the orchid folks, where did they come from? The participants, where did they come from?
I believe the vendors from there are world-renowned orchid
Okay, from everywhere.
growers from everywhere. It could be from anywhere in the United States or anywhere, maybe in different countries. But we had, I think it was over 50 vendors focused on orchid cultivation, and they're very renowned. They actually, the people put that together. It was the Moats. Martin Moats and Bart Moats, and we've had the pleasure of working with them in the past, and then now this year after COVID. It's a 3-day orchid festival, and we had over 8,000 people within those 3 days.
That's a recurring event every year.
Yes, actually, we have it. We had it now in October. We're gonna have the Tamiami International Orchid Festival in May.
Okay.
So we're gonna have another one later on this year.
All right. So then there was that. Then Grow Fest, which we're going to talk about in a minute. What other events do you have?
Soon after Grow Fest on December 4th, we have Redland Heritage Festival, which is a festival that we put together, which focuses on celebrating the Redland heritage. Again, we focus on local businesses, local vendors, and so you get to enjoy that. We're gonna have music and activities for kids.
Okay, what I want you to say is about the blues. Isn't there a blues?
We do.
Okay,
that will be April. I believe it's April 2nd. It's going to be a blues concert where we're going to have a music and band lineup. And then we're also going to have a lot of different variety of drinks for sale and some barbecue in the evening as well. But it's going to be during the evening hours. It's during a very hot month. So we want to, give some relief to our guests from the heat.
Gotcha. Grow Fest. What is that? When is it? What is that?
Yes. So Grow Fest is this weekend, is Saturday and Sunday. Okay. And the festival is focused on everything locally sourced, locally grown. And it's a celebration of that.
Can we go and buy seedlings? Can we buy plants?
Yes, there will be local farmers. There's going to be local craftsmen, local eateries.
I think you brought a flyer. If Andres can put that up real quick. Is this also a yearly event?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sold. Okay. I want to go visit. I want to be like Marcial and go visit it and enjoy it. How else can I support? I know this is like the zoo, so you pay to get in,
right?
A nominal fee to get in.
Yes.
Can I be a member?
Definitely. We really love our members. It also has a lot of benefits to being a member. So as a member, you get free admission for the year because we want you to be able to experience all the seasons. You get 10% off any retail item in the store. You get percentage off of our private tours, our education series for adults. And you also get to come to our festivals that we put together for free.
Education series for adults? These are like, give me an example.
This actually started this last fiscal year. Okay. And I'm really, they used to do it in the past, and then we, our director reenacted it, which we're really excited about. So it's for adults. Basically, it's every month, the last Sunday of every month, and we focus on different educational classes like composting, rain barrel, how vermiculture.
What is that?
And vermiculture is like the how to sustain like a worm pot so that it could give you good soil.
Ethnobotany, I'm learning all kinds. I'm learning a whole new language. My wife and I, my wife Martha and I are trying to. It just happened organically, of planting. We have plants, and we're just okay now the plants are outgrowing their pots. So what do we do next?
Okay.
You know,
Yes.
so this is something that we
This
want
would be
to.
amazing for you
Yeah.
guys.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. We've talked about just about everything. Adult education series. You have a tasting tour. Did you mention that?
Yes.
Well, talk to me about that. What is
Yes,
that?
and we started that just recently this month. It's every day at 3 p.m. and we take you around the park with one of our naturalists, and then our naturalists can pick the tree for you and cut up the fruit for you so you can taste a lot more of a variety than you would know to do yourself when you're walking around the park. And also you get a different taste of the tropics all around from the equator, basically, when you go around the path. So it's basically kind of like a tasting tour. So it's very nice for families, couples, kids who enjoy like different types of tastes, and culinary people who are culinary enthusiasts.
Jhyna, where is the park, please? Give me an address, and I don't know if Andres can put it on the bottom of the screen there. What's the address?
Yes, it is 18401, I believe.
Yeah. I should have
Sorry,
that as
my
well.
generation does Google Maps. So I can pull that up for you.
And a phone number that folks can call to
Yes.
get more information.
Yes. So the address, and I was very wrong, is 24801 Southwest 187th Avenue, Homestead, Florida 33031. And the phone number that you can call to book your private tour or your class for a field trip, or to RSVP for a 3 p.m. tasting tour is 305-247-5727.
I hope everybody got a note of that, and I hope we have encouraged more folks like myself to go and experience this gem. It really is a gem.
It really is a gem.
The surprise question I have for you: did you ever consider a career in gardening and botany? Is that something is that a hobby you ever thought about doing?
No, not
Like the
not
last
from
thing.
the top of my head. I think I went into communications as my bachelor's. I did a minor in hospitality because it was in the same Biscayne Bay campus with FIU. So it worked out.
There you go.
And then I was actually with the county with the workforce department before. So I dealt a lot with economic development, and I've always been a South Dade resident. So it's always been a passion of mine to live close to where you work. And so that's what led me to Fruit and Spice Park, was a change into my lifestyle of not wanting to commute for 2 hours. This was before COVID.
You are a spokesperson for the South Dade Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
Jhyna, it has been a real pleasure speaking to you. I hope we all have come. I hope you guys have come away with a new curiosity about this gem that we have in our community, the Redland Fruit and Spice Park. Please give the number a call, find out more about it, and go visit. And thank you again, Jhyna, for joining, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.